Are y'all ready to get this started?
Let's go.
3, 2, 1.
Let's get it. Here we go.
Sit your ass down and get ready for the next episode of the Urban Green Room. The Urban Green Room. With your hosts, my girl Raye and that dude Delores.
Hey everyone, it's your girl AA.
What's up, world? It's your man Delores.
And welcome to another episode of the Urban Green Room podcast. Yes. See, I had to do that because D likes when I say the yes now. So before we get started, you see we got people in the room with us. And tonight,
We got company.
Yeah, we got company. Tonight is a very interesting conversation, one that D and I really wanted to have. Especially in light of all of the racial talk. And I know D and I talk about this topic from our perspective, but I thought it was time that we pod about it and get people who actually live the reality of an interracial relationship. So, let's get started. I have in the house with us, okay, I've got to start with DB Bray. Only because, Chronicles. So if you don't know DB, you are missing out on one of the hottest shows on Instagram.
You ain't had to make that so sexual though when you did that.
DB. When
sex sells.
when we say ooh wee, I do the ooh wee dance. So Chronicles, tune in. But we got DB in the house. And DB is, I'm going to call him an influencer at this point, because not only is he an author, and if you haven't picked up his latest book, Blood and Whiskey.
1 and 2.
1 and 2. I'm behind. I haven't read 1 yet. I just downloaded 2. I'm gonna get there, DB. It's been busy. But if you haven't picked it up, it's a hot read. And not only that, but it's going audio.
Mm-hmm.
It's going audio. Yeah. So if you can't read it, you can listen to it. No excuses. Yep. And you can tune in on IG to the Ooh-Wee Chronicles. Yep. And DB just launched a clothing line. Yeah. So no excuses not to know who this brother is. Tune in, get educated, have some fun, because Bray is in the house and his lovely wife, Delores, is joining us for the conversation. So welcome.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you. And not, leaving out my sister and brother on the other side. Listen, native Detroiter, another author. I had the pleasure of meeting both of them when we were at the Hustle and Grind Detroit Book Expo.
There you go.
And I how you see, I'm a visualist. So when you walk by somebody's table and you see something interesting, you're like, wait a second. Okay, because she's an author and she writes in a whole different genre in urban literature. So we're not talking about street literature. You got to get the book. And yes, I'm putting all of our guest information on our website so you can check it out. We got Raye in the house and her husband, Jayson. So get this. My girl, Raye, not only is she a mother, she's an author. Her first book was released in 2016, Compelled to Murder. She's an astrologist.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
we got somebody smart out here.
See, no, wait a minute. We be talking about this now. D thinks like that Capricorn in me is very strong. So we'll get together on some of that. But
man,
she's an astrologist. She owns her own company, her publishing company, and she has a YouTube page where she's digging into the truth around astrology. So if you don't know the interest, she in the house. She in the house. I'm just leave it there. I'm gonna put all her information on our page. But if you want to know, and we making connections. Listen, people, the best of the best for the conversation. So welcome, Raye and Jayson, to the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Anytime. Welcome. Thanks for joining. So I guess we're just gonna jump into the shits, right? So we're here to pop. We're here to talk about interracial relationships and the dynamics within it. With everything in society right now, there's a lot of tension on both sides of the fence right now, as far as our cultures go, black and white. And so this has always been a topic within our culture. I mean, I don't know what it's been like for Jayson or DB, but as a black man, it has always been kind of one of those conversations in our culture is like, yo, you hear from men and women, whatever their beliefs are and how they feel about this situation. But I think now is a really good time to bring some people in that actually experience this and be able to educate the world, or this country anyway, on how we actually do come together as people, and talk about some of the trials that you guys may face in doing so, and maybe even some of those who may not intentionally do it, kind of educate them as to what they're actually doing, kind of like what, you know, brown folks are trying to do as well. We're educating folks who may not know about our culture. So I want to have this conversation. But let's ease into it. So I want to kind of ask you guys, how long have you been together as couples? So not just married, but kind of, you know, take us through.
We've been together for 11 years. We actually met in 2009 at work, where we used to work. So it's we actually got married in 2010.
Okay.
And
so what you like, Jayson? Snatched her up. All right.
And it's funny too, because when I talked to him for a few weeks on the phone, and he was like, I know you're the one I'm going to marry. And after he said that, I stopped talking to him for a while. Like, I thought he was nuts, but after like a month and a half, I missed him, you know? So
a month and a half?
Yeah.
That's a long time.
She cut me off.
Cold turkey.
Okay, I'm going to dig into that. I'm going to dig into that a little bit later. I'm going to dig into that month and a half. But okay, great. Congratulations, you guys. So you've been married for 10 then?
Yes.
Married 10 years now. Okay,
yep.
Great.
September 7th.
Okay.
He gonna make sure we know the date. Make sure he know.
It's also my grandma's birthday too. So
that's an easy one.
Yeah,
for sure.
Easy for me to remember.
Those are the best.
Yeah.
DB trying to strategize right now. I see him. How long we been together? Like, come on, man. This was on the sheet.
Wait a minute.
This is on the sheet, man. You should have had this answer already. Come on, DB, get with it.
Okay.
So how long have you guys been married? Or how long have you been together?
We celebrated our 10th year of marriage last year.
Yeah. So
in 2019. So we got married when you guys met in 2005.
Nice. Look at that.
Kind of cool. Bringing it together. We met 2 years earlier, so we've been together for 12 years. DB thinks it's 15 years. It feels like it. When you meet someone that you have a strong connection with, to me, it feels like you've known them forever. And it feels like 20, 30 years. But yeah, so we met. Tell them how you knew I was going to be your wife.
You mean in Chicago?
Tell us. Tell us. Well, shit, you better get to talking.
This might be a little weird, but I had this premonition. I'll never forget the day I was praying, and I was starting to shower, and I was really, really depressed. And I was getting ready to get out of Chicago because things had kind of gone south. And I said, God, what is my wife's name going to be? Because I really didn't think I was going to make it out that week, to be honest with you, the way things were popping. And I saw the name, I felt the name Delores come over my feeling. And I'll never forget that. I turned the hot water on and I was like, who in the hell is named Delores? Like, that's not even like, that ain't even, I mess with Shotwika and like all these other like really bad names. I never met nobody with Delores. And so that's pretty much how I knew before I ever came down to Virginia, which is kind of creepy, but there you go.
Yeah.
True story.
That's it.
Wow.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. But hold on,
go ahead.
Hold on.
Come on.
But
I'm gonna need you to stop using words like premonition on this show. No, I'm just messing with you.
I was gonna say premonition.
No.
Okay.
I'm completely messing with you, man. That's
He's gonna come at me.
He's been waiting to get you in the room.
I know.
You do know this.
Oh, I know. He's still mad about the bench press question. I know.
Yeah, for sure.
Come get it.
So
I'm here, B. I'm here.
Okay, so there's some longevity to your relationships. So when I said I wanted to talk about this subject, I felt like both parties were very excited. So before we get into any of our questions that we want to ask, is there anything that you want to talk about? Like, where should we start the conversation? Does it even matter?
It doesn't really matter. I mean,
nope.
Okay.
Good.
So then, this isn't on the sheet that we gave out, but what are some misconceptions about interracial couples?
You know what? When people see us, the first thing they think is which one acts more like a Black person, which one acts more like a white person. That's what they always think. They always think like, you know,
oh, wow.
Is Jayson going to be more on the hood acting side, or is he going to be, or you know what I'm saying? They always wonder which is which. For some reason, people always think that, like, you can't just be regular, normal
right.
people. It's got to be one person with the stereotype, you know.
True.
I don't know. It's always like that.
It is weird.
Even as for you, I'm sorry, Jayson. I didn't mean.
No, go ahead.
Even for you, E.
You said for me, for me, usually when people see me, they automatically think that I'm more straight-laced and he's hood. That's usually what they think, you know.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I would have thought that would have been the other way around. Yeah. That's interesting.
But everybody thinks that. Everybody looks and tries to think, which one is the one that's a little more, you know,
one-sided then,
you know, you know.
Do you guys experience that too?
I think, well, I don't know. One of the things I think people are surprised that we're actually married. Meaning, you know, how
that's so loaded. That's so loaded. Oh my goodness.
So why do
I can have fun with that one.
Delores, why do you say
him
that?
Doing this? That's when you know he's thinking.
I wasn't saying it to give you something to go on. I really was saying because.
But I got it.
You know, and for Black women who've been throughout history seen as sexual objects by whoever, and when a lot of Black women were taught, I know I was taught to be careful if a white man or a man outside of your race wants to talk to you, because maybe they don't want a long-term relationship. They just want to have fun. They just want to use you, see what it's like to be with a Black woman, and then throw you away. And so, I mean, I've been in a situation when a white man hit me in the closet when his friend came in or something, you know. Seriously, yes, years ago. And I'm like, oh no, I'm too valuable to be treated like this. But that's what I think is really one of the things for us, because they already know that he's not hood or whatever when they meet him, even though he may appear to you that way. That's not who he is.
He's like, I can't wait to get his ass. Get his ass.
No.
This is great.
No, but I think that's more kind of what, well, back in the day they did. Down here, it's different. In Hampton and Virginia Beach, there's a huge military community. So there are a lot of interracial relationships down here.
Gotcha.
It's a different vibe, but believe me, the Confederate flags still fly in certain places, and
Just down the street.
Yeah, that right around the corner where we're afraid to drive down.
Fuck the car up.
Yeah, that too. No one hit our car. He don't know how to drive. He drove into a ditch and anyway.
Trying to turn around because I saw the damn people staring at us. I ain't.
Yeah, it's creepy. It's creepy.
Time to fucking go.
And now, because of what's going on, we're afraid to even go down that path.
Mm-hmm.
Like down a part in our neighborhood where there are a lot of possibly Tea Party members there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's what people are surprised here.
I've seen dudes hit on right in front of me because they didn't know we were together. Yeah. That's awesome.
That's it.
I love it when I'm saying, I bet you Jason said that too, just standing there. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, hi, I'm behind you.
That's what I mean.
Hello?
We're not together. We're not together.
Could you please pass the basket up to my wife?
Disrespectful.
I just went and got some bread. Can you pass that to? You can keep hollering, just pay for the groceries. I know she's going with me, so you can do what you need to do, but I get it. I know that's happened to you.
I think people have said stuff to her behind my back to get her attention and ask her, like, why are you with him? But not to me, it's always seemed to be older Black gentlemen that always say things to me.
Sure.
Like fishing the other day, I had a gentleman like, oh, you had to take her from us.
Oh.
And then a couple months ago at the doctor's, I had a older Black gentleman tell me I wasn't shit after he looked after he looked at both of us.
Wow.
But he was like 70. He was an old guy.
I've never experienced that.
So
we've experienced those. I've never. For our honeymoon, we went to New Orleans.
That was a mistake.
Yeah. Not only was it in October, it was like nasty hot. I've never been ever been anywhere where it still stank hot at night. At least in Virginia, it cools down at night. In New Orleans, it's just, woo! Anyway, but that was the first time I ever experienced someone, an older Black people just staring at us like this.
And of course, I was confrontational as hell.
You know, people normally, they kind of stare and when you look at them, they look away. Because they got caught. They didn't look away. I was completely in shock. I was like, oh my God, where are we? Is this Jim Crow or, like what year is this? Oh my God. Yeah.
That was a little bit confrontational back then.
We had a similar, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but we had a similar incident happen at the Chicago Book Fair. I think it was in 2017, the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. And at our booth, like right across from our booth, was the setup for, I don't know if it was the Nation of Islam and some other people. Like, I don't know if it was a Black militia. I don't know what it was, but they were basically right across from us. And they came over to my table. An older guy came over to my table. And he was like, how could you come here? You're going to have this book here and bring him here? Now, my book has a noose on the front of it with blood on it, but it has nothing to do with any of that. Back in the day, it had nothing to do with any of that. The murder in my book was nothing about that. He was thinking, I'm assuming that it had something to do with like slavery, or maybe the noose just triggered him. But he came over to the table and was literally going at Jayson and I. So, I eventually had to tell him, look, man, this is my husband. And the book is not about what you think it's about. And regardless, you don't have a right to come over here, coming at me like that. Because Jayson started getting mad because he just kept going and going and going.
I stood up. Yeah.
And then when he walked off, he walked right over to the guys, to the Nation of Islam and stuff, talking to them, riling them up. I'm like,
unnecessary.
Well, this is probably the last time I come to
that. Don't worry, I'll be there. Right. You won't run into any more.
That's unfortunate, especially when you're just trying to promote yourself, and that's a lot to deal
that was
with.
Unfortunate.
So, I do, however, identify with something that DB2 said. when she mentioned, God, what did she mention? Oh, how she was warned about the opposite sex with different races. I've heard that as well.
Really?
Growing up, especially, yes. We were explicitly, like really like, yo, you just don't do it. You do not mess with someone from a different race, in particular white women. You don't mess with them because it's going to bring you a whole lot of problems.
Right.
And I was taught this from a very little age. I remember we were really little, man. Me and my brother were at my granddad's here in Michigan. And I knew that I was going to get him worked up because I said, hey, Granddad, Melvin, he got a girlfriend. And he piped up, oh, yeah? Well, that's good, boy. I was like, hey, and she white.
Uh-oh.
He hit the fucking ceiling. Now, we laying in the bed, right? And he hits the ceiling, but that was just the environment, I guess, because history. Now, my grandfather's from Mississippi. Okay. He had to leave Mississippi under some really rough circumstances. And so, like, he taught that to his children. Of course, his children teaches that, and it just gets passed down. But hopefully we have enough life experience when we get to a particular age where we're able to see through and navigate through a lot of the nonsense. Yeah, it happens today as well. You might get caught out there in a bad situation, but that, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily have to be race related. I think it's more people related. You may have made a bad decision, in personality you got with versus, it's I try to stay away from blanketing anybody because, it's kind of we've been blanketed through this country for hundreds of years and we're still fighting, trying to get from under that blanket. So I'm not going to intentionally blanket someone else's culture or someone else's race. But the fact of the matter is that we were taught these things because of the history that our folks have been through. So a lot of times trying to fight that can be difficult when it's been kind of ingrained in you for, a lot of years. So I can see where you had the problem with the older gentlemen. Yeah, they're going to feel a certain way because for 60, 70 years or something, however old they are, this is kind of, you don't do that. We do this. So
I see.
They went through a lot more than, not today's not perfect, but the things and the racism that they went through back then was a lot worse than now. So,
because they didn't have to disguise it either. I think no, go ahead.
And he said, like, I'm surprised your parents are as cool as they are. Like, they didn't have any issues at all with me, with my color or anything. I wasn't raised like that. I was actually raised in Hamtramck. So it was pretty much, back then, it was pretty much Polish. We were pretty much the only Black people in the neighborhood. So I was around, all kinds of people. So my parents didn't really raise me to divide the color like that. So when I started dating, and I did date a white guy, after I dated a Black guy, when I would date a white guy, it was they didn't say anything. I came in the house, we were eating dinner, they were eating dinner. You want something to eat? It was, just normal. So I don't know what it was, because my dad is in his late 70s and he was born in Selma. So he's been through a whole lot. History. And he was in the Vietnam War and stuff. So my dad's been through quite a bit. Was it the Vietnam War? It was one of those. But
probably one of the coolest men I've ever met in my life. We go fishing together. We do.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I've been blessed with my in-laws.
Yeah, and me too on the same end, actually. You know, because that's horrible to get with somebody and have to worry about if your family's gonna like me or not, or you know, or accept me or not. I don't have time for that.
I guess that's a good segue. Into the
let's talk about that because Dee and I talk about race relations all the time. And because of where we live, I knew when we moved to Michigan and the town we lived in Michigan, the odds of any one of my sons marrying somebody who looked like me was going to be very rare. Not because they weren't interested, but because of their environment. So I knew. But I'm also a firm believer, like you can love who you want to love because that's how my mother raised me. Like, so I was very open-minded towards relationships. In fact, people are more in awe that I actually have a Black husband because the perception with me is literally, we think you're married to a white guy. and if he is a Black guy, he's a big, burly Black guy. So
yeah,
I just dispelled all of that. But I knew with the boys, I knew with
always
the
be
boys.
On some bullshit. I hate your stories. I hate your stories.
You're not white. You're not a big burly guy. Like you're not weighing 350, babe. You're just not. But
I gotta get my game up. I gotta get my weight up.
I knew that the boys would have that same kind of interaction. They're gonna love who they wanted to love. And yes, I have one son that has dated every shade under the sun. And I have one who has definitely a preference. And I was just like, I want them to be comfortable bringing someone home. Like we had rules, just don't bring anybody home. Because I ain't got time to learn names every Sunday for dinner. You know, I'm calling her Sheila, her name's Sandy. I thought she looked like, you know, Sheila, but Sheila was 2 weeks ago. I ain't got time for that. What I do got time for is if you're investing your heart in someone, despite what they look like, I'm going to welcome them. Like I'm welcoming them into the family, regardless of race. So with that being said, I know that's not the case for everybody because I also know, like, my mom raised me one way. My grandmother would have a fit if my husband was white. I know that for a fact. And she's an older Southern woman. She would have a fit. I would believe my dad would have an issue with it. My dad was a ladies' man, so he ain't discriminate either. But I think for me, the concept or the perception for him would be that he want me to marry someone who looked like him. Like I remember or recall him even saying something like that.
You dropped the ball on that one too.
Yeah, but that's okay too. But so let's talk about the family dynamics because in just a regular relationship, like Dee and I have had to defend each other. I can't imagine what it looks like being of two different backgrounds. How do you go to bat for your wife or your spouse? Have you had to do that? And what does that look like?
Well, hang on. Are you talking about with family members?
Yeah, with family or friends.
Family or friends. I guess we can open that up to both.
You just got to deal with it directly. I mean, if they say something disrespectful, it's like, hey, chill out. Mm-hmm. You know, that's my direct, you know, if you can't be respectful, we won't be around you. You know what I'm saying? I have an aunt that I really don't even associate with because she's disrespectful, you know, and she still talks to Jayson and tries to talk to him. I cut her off because I'm not going to try to be nice to you. I'm, you know, done with it. You know, it's only so much somebody's going to take. And when you let somebody disrespect you, they're going to keep disrespecting you. So, you know, when I encounter that, I just come at them direct and let them know. And if they can't respect that, then they can get out of my life. And it's that simple.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, at our wedding, so we had a little bit of a melting pot issue there. Namely, one of my in-laws was a little bit little bit crazy, would have been a kind way of putting it. And we do not speak to this day. She has certainly experienced the feeling of not approving of my wife marrying outside her race.
My sister.
To the fact that...
Who is biracial.
To the fact that...
She has a complex.
Shit. A little bit different. Anyway, D, you're going to love this. So before I was nice DB, I had a little bit of an attitudinal problem that needed made adjustment, and it happened at my wedding. And so I brought in 3 bodyguards. They didn't belong there. You could tell that they weren't on the guest list. One was called Gary the Brick Mason. The other was a middle linebacker for Virginia State, and another guy was Barry the Baptist. And he didn't get the name because he's a religious man. He got the name because he used to dunk people's heads in toilets. So I had those guys separating between the 2 sides of her family because half the family wanted her ass. I wanted her ass. And the guys were there to break it up.
What does that got to do with what they're saying?
So what happens is what you see is different facets of different people in these families hate each other. And then it's involved in the situation where this person over here is interracial, this person over here is not. There's a hodgepodge mix in the family. So you got all these cool people on one side and you got this one person on the other. And I'm trying to make sure that this person doesn't get dealt with by this family, trying to make sure it's like coming from 9 different angles. So my wife is totally oblivious this is happening at the wedding, just totally oblivious. It's her day. Well, her sister felt the need to stand up and do a 20-minute diatribe about how great she is and try to steal the thunder. And my one cousin was drunk. He was sitting at the table with me. So he was ready to go fight. He had his flask on him. That's how classy he was. He brought a flask. He brought an Irish flask strapped to his leg. So he's drunk. I got my best friend there. He's 350. So I get up in the middle of her speech. I get to go up to literally just knock her down. And my best friend clamps his big ass hand on my knee and he goes, "It's not about you." And I was like, and I never forgot that. And I just know that there's certain family members that you just got to kind of just cast them aside. I just did it recently with my own family. They made a decision to say something on Facebook. It offended my wife, made her cry. And I pulled the plug on every single person on that side of the family. I don't care if you're associated. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. So basically, no more 4th of Julys, no more Christmases, no more Thanksgivings, none of that shit. She's my world. We got 3 dogs, and fuck you if you don't like me. You know what I mean? Like, that's right.
It's complicated. It's really complicated.
Yeah, it sounds like it can be.
So I'll say this. My side of the family is like the freaking Rainbow Coalition. I got a niece that just married a Vietnamese guy. I got cousins that are either married Filipino or are Caucasian. So it's all kinds of things going on in my family on my side. His side, not so much. My side, we're, free love, whatever. My father I didn't realize there was racism existed until I learned about it in school. My father purposely shielded us from it, but I never heard him say one foul thing about a white person, ever. He always looked at people as individuals. He would say the person's name. He would say that guy. He would never say that white, but none of that. He did call me boy a lot. Well, he called all guys boys. Okay. So, he called my brother boy. You are young. Your name boy. My daddy was 90.
He's still a little salty, ain't he?
Yeah.
He called me boy. You know how long we've been getting called boy? Yeah. Man, if you don't shut up with that shit, get out of here.
Back. Never called me by my name. Back. No, he called him number 8. That's
come back, DB, because I had a question.
Yeah, but no, after talking to some of my family members, I think I figured out why. My father, when he was a child, the people his father, my grandfather worked for this white gentleman that owned a shoe factory. And the white gentleman was very benevolent, very kind. His kids my father would play with his kids. So I think his perception of white people wasn't as tainted as it could have been. So he saw that people are just people. Not everyone's the same. And I think that influenced how he went about in his life, how his sister went about her life. And even though you know, there are issues here and there. There aren't really any issues, just my sister. My brother's cool. Everyone else is cool. Mm-hmm. My sister is just adamant, like, you should have married a black man. And I'm like, you know what? I marry who I love, regardless of who they are.
We ain't talked in a decade.
So, anyway.
So,
yeah.
DB.
Yeah.
DB, if you would. So this, what you're saying, you explained was some dynamic with your family that was recently?
Yeah.
You say this happened. Was it kind of because of what's happening with protests and everything, or what? Are you okay with kind of going into some of that, or?
Sure. You know me, D. Yeah, go ahead. Delores wants to go, so go ahead. Tell me.
Yeah, I'll be more diplomatic. So
I don't want diplomacy.
He doesn't want diplomacy. That's why he called out me.
Okay, hold up. So first, meeting his family is a whole different story. So
now we get into the shits.
Now we get into the shit. His parents, from what I was told, they were shocked, of course, when he told them I was African, I was black. They're like, oh, you know. And when they first met me, there was a picture of an African girl, dark complected with dreads, hanging in my bathroom. And she was like, oh, was that you as a little girl? Yeah. And I kind of looked at her.
Oh, like, shit.
Yeah.
You sure. Talking. You said sure?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It was very awkward.
You talking.
And I was like,
I think I know what picture you're talking about. That was a standard in probably every black household coming up that I seen. So she had the gold, she had braids, and was it like the gold kind of, what do you call them, beads or something?
Yeah.
In the hair?
And like a little girl with a pink dress on. And I'm like, yeah, sure.
She was nervous. She was very nervous.
She was very nervous. But you know what? My relationship with her and his stepfather grew. And it was just fine. I never had a problem with them directly. I had problems with the rest of their family.
Okay.
So
like the ones that live down the street.
It's these extended people. So the people around the corner are the people we're referring to. They are Republicans. They're strange as hell. They're not, I can't say they're racist. It's I don't know
it's
anymore.
A you're good, but them thing.
They're not far right, but they definitely don't believe. They believe, they voted for Trump. Mm-hmm. They back half of most of what he says. They don't believe the Confederate statue should have came down, and any black person complaining about it or any person complaining about it, they're babies. So that was one of the pictures she posted. First, her Facebook page has her with the Confederate flag in the back of them, and that made me cry. That's what made me cry, because it's been building up since Trump has been in office. Our relationship with his mom's relative side of the family has deteriorated. Like, it's complicated going to a family event, and you cannot talk about politics at all. You have to make light conversation. It's just, and I'm like,
yeah, that's so awkward. It makes it.
It's your family, man. You got to go. You got to stay connected, because that's the way I grew up. Thick or thin, whatever. You just kind of get over it and just keep it simple. But now,
when it comes to your spouse, that goes out the window, because I'm raised like my spouse is number one. It's not my mom. It's not my dad. It's not my cousin. It's not my brother. I don't care what side of the family it's on. My number one priority is my spouse. So no, I'm not going to put my spouse in an environment that's going to upset her. I'm just not going to do it. Or I'm going to regulate the fuck out of it. And if I have to, I'll shut that motherfucker down. I don't care.
Right.
But my family knows this, so they don't come at me with bullshit, because they didn't like when we got together. But that's for another pod. But so I wanted to try to get educated on that. Like, Because not only do you guys have everyday pressures that relationships have, but you've got this extra outside influence that's always there, it sounds like, on, DB, your mom's side of the family.
Well, extended. So it's like two layers from give a fuck. And so I've been trying to pull the plug on these fuckers for a while. And my wife has always been like, hey, and her family is very close. They, and she wants that same thing. The Irish, we work a different way. If you disrespect me, I'm going to put you in the hospital. If you come out the hospital, I'm going to put you in the morgue. That's the kind of mentality that side of the family comes from. So when you look at that and you go, okay, there's only one way to make this work, and that is to completely pull the plug. I don't give a fuck about you, your mama, none of that. You're done. Because the Irish have to sit down, and we have to actually have a sit down at a table on that side of the family to discuss options. We can't just go in there and go, fuck you, because you're going to get put in the hospital. They're not going to take that kindly. So I'm waiting until the shit kind of dies down, and then I'm going to go over to my uncle and be like, look, this is what the situation is. If you decide that that's not okay with you, then we're good. If you decide that behavior that they displayed on Facebook is okay, then we done. Like, it's just that simple. I've made my choice 15 years ago. I'd have almost been in fist fights in the Food Lion parking lot. I'd have been almost in brawls in fucking New Orleans over some racist bullshit. Like, I've been through too much with her to give a fuck about you. Like, I just don't give a fuck about you. So, like, when I sit there and I do my platform, right, which is for underrepresented people, there's a reason for that. It's because that there's not enough focus on Black writers. I'm sorry. There just isn't. If you turn on any type of interview program, give me a chance to see which one has a Black person on it. I'll wait. So that's why I do what I do, is because my side of the family has basically decided to make a move, and that's cool. Make your move. Like, but there's going to be consequences. And I told her that. I said, either A, we can do one of two things. Either A, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to start bashing heads. I'm okay with that. I'll lose my good job. I'll lose all that. I don't give a fuck. Just to prove a point. Just to prove a point. Or you can let me handle this in my way, where I go over after the shit is calmed down and everything is gone, and I can say, okay, you know why we weren't at that thing on the fucking birthday thing? This is why. You want to know why we weren't over here for this? This is why. Because I'm just not. It
sounds like that's more her way, though.
What, calming down?
Yeah.
I've been knocked the fuck out. It wasn't that goddamn bad. So I'm just saying, like, it's, it ain't all that bad. It really isn't. I mean,
I'll take your word for it.
Ooh wee. All right.
It's unfortunate. Like,
so that's crazy that it would actually get physical. Like, that's crazy to me.
With some of them.
Like, it's not that big of a deal. It can't be that big.
Well,
I mean, good grief.
At least one of them.
Remember, the Irish, right? We're hardcore flagged up. Like, so that's what we believe in to the core. My uncle, his father told him, I'd rather you bring a big-nosed Italian home rather than an N-word. Okay? So you got to think, that was my mother's father, who was dead before I was born. So you've got to think that kind of mentality came down through the core. Right? So we're a patriarchal system. We're not a matriarchal system. So it passes when my uncle died. Remember, I called you on the phone, right? So he dies. Then it goes to him, right? The guy that's kind of in the center of all this, but not in the center. So all the family lineage goes to him. Then when he dies, it goes to somebody else. Then it goes to me. So there's a long line of how we deal with these things in an appropriate way, rather than popping off on the phone, being like, I'll meet you around the corner. That's just not going to fly. Or people will end up getting their ass whipped. I mean, it's just that simple. It's just the way it is.
Let me ask this, because Raye and Jayson, you have children. Like, we've heard about how you handle defending your spouse and your relationship, but how does that interfere with your children? Like, do you have to sit down and have conversations with them? Has anyone ever said anything negative about one or the other's, parent to your children?
No, as far as our children are concerned, they weren't really all into this racism thing until recently, you know, the recent events. And, you know, they've been out of school. So my daughter, she's been on her devices and things like that. So she's on a kick to where she's basically exposing people at her school. You know, she's built a platform to where she's exposing anybody that's racist at her school. So this is like, you know, a shock for me, you know, and I want to be like, you got to be careful and stuff like that. And I do tell her that, but I don't want to stop her from being her. I don't want to shield her from doing what she feels is right, because that's not right, you know. So, you know, I let her do her thing. But other than that, we haven't had any problems as far as people saying racist things to our children or anything like that. They, you know, they're kids. So people generally, we live in Davison. I don't know if you guys know where that is. That's like maybe 30 minutes north of Clarkston or so in Michigan.
Right by Flint, kind of like 20 minutes away.
Okay.
Not in Flint,
it's
but
the suburb outside.
Yeah.
We
it's
didn't
about
drink
11 miles.
So you're gonna clear that up real quick.
But you know, they just don't encounter too much. It's not there's a little more of a mixed race at the school. When they first got there, they were pretty much the only Black kids there. It was, you know, when we first got here a few years ago. But now, you know, more have moved from Flint and stuff like that to come, and, you know, so we've got a little more diversity at a little bit at the school. But they haven't really encountered that, not until this situation here. My son Anthony, his girlfriend Emma is Caucasian. And he says he doesn't have any problems. Like, me and his dad have had people saying stuff to him, not to me. They don't say anything to me. But he said he doesn't have anybody say anything to him either.
And I'm a big guy too. I don't know, it's crazy. I think we all have ignorant people in our family. I think every family has ignorant people in their family.
For sure.
Yes.
I think that, you know, especially with my 18-year-old, you know, I'm not biologically his father, but we get people, you know, when I introduce him to people, I say, this is my son, you know, and it's always stupid questions like, oh, is that really your son? Or, you know, even like asking her questions about her hair, and it's, you know, like a culture difference. But you know, I don't know if people are being disrespectful, but asking stupid questions is, you know, especially about things that you're not accustomed to. Like, you know, my mom will ask her, is that your real hair, or something like that? Like, why do you even need to know that? Is that even, you know what I mean? Like,
no. Because anytime somebody
I say, sure,
says, is that your hair?
Yep.
I'm just like, well,
it's mine.
What does it, how does that enhance our relationship? You knowing if this is growing out of my hair or sewn in or glued. Tell me how that's going to affect our conversation and your way of life, and I'll answer it for you. Like, if I want to go short and long, if I want to go curly or straight, has nothing to do, no bearings on how you live your life. Like, so asking me questions like that are ridiculous.
I don't think they are. I think if it's growing out of curiosity, it depends what it is. If it's out of malice and it's coming from a dark place, sure. But I willingly tell people this is a weave. I don't care, whatever. I think when they ask about our hair, it's curiosity because they want to get to know you. They want to understand who you are. Because for me,
she was
they're not quite sure how to interact with you. And so I like opening. I don't mind people asking me different questions about, if it's, you know, cultural related questions. If it's not from a place of malice. That's how we get to know each other and I think that's how we open up the path to more communication and more understanding and less fear.
It keeps them from being single-minded too, because they don't understand that Black women there's so many different types of hairs and so many different types of complexions and so many, and they get so shocked. And so when they do ask me, oh, can I touch your hair? Sure, you can touch it. Oh my God, that's your hair? Yep, it's my hair. And I can dip it right in the water and it'll look completely different, because that's just Black, that's just how we are. So right. I don't mind showing them that difference, if they want to see it. He's more so like, back up.
Well, things like with the son, with the child, what does it matter if he's not my biological child? Like, why?
Right.
The hair thing. My mom feels comfortable talking. They get along great. She had my mom ask her a lot of questions. She don't have any malice to it. But when people ask, is that your real son? Like, does it even matter? Like.
Yeah, it's kind of insulting.
Would it make a difference if he wasn't?
But that shows in different ways how they think, because I remember him telling me before that his mother was telling him that she would prefer, when he was younger, that he had a child or married a white woman, because his baby would look like him. She didn't want her grandkids not to look like her. Like to see the resemblance or anything like that. So once we got together and I had Abigail and Connor, she was like, oh my God, they look just like you, Jayson. Like, she was just so amazed that they looked so much like him. She thought because I was Black, they would look completely different, or they would just, not have none of her, features or DNA. So that, I think that made her feel more comfortable, because she could see herself in her grandkids.
I think with the question thing, like, I try to discern. I listen closely, and I listen to tone. I listen to context, and I think I respond appropriately. I know for a fact that most women don't like the "can I touch your hair" question.
Yeah.
I can't even ask, can I touch your hair, most of the time. I'm like, nah, get away from me. I just did it.
I don't think most Black women want to get about it, touch our hair. First, I don't.
Like touching
if you snap my wig off.
Oh, he does it all the time, though.
Well, that's different. That's a whole nother conversation. Now that
different topic.
They give us that pass. We get that pass. In the heat of the moment.
Now let me tell you, D.
So hold on. Let me just. Sometimes you can tell when somebody's just really curious, and you can tell when somebody's trying to take a dig. You can kind of pick up on that, and I think, based on the situation, you just respond appropriately, however you see fit to it. So. Go ahead, DB.
So, when we first started dating, we met on an internet site, right? And we
tell them the name of it.
It was Plenty of Fish before it was a Twinder or whatever. We got together long before the Twinders and the grinders and the booty shaking or whatever the hell those things are now. And
cooties,
whatever. STD.com or whatever the people are going to.
Oh shit!
I don't even know what it is. I was going to Plenty of Fish, and I talked to her for 3 weeks on the phone before she ever let me come over. Right?
No. We courted.
Okay.
So
she said, "Get it right."
Ooh.
Oh yes.
Whatever.
I'm a Capricorn too.
Thanks. Shit.
We met on blackpeoplemeet.com.
We did not.
Jayson, you got to come on my show. You funny as fuck.
I know. Oh my God.
Don't go in there. Don't go in there.
So
I was waiting for it.
It's like
I was waiting for it.
Oh my God.
She had me do a turnaround and lift my jacket up because I was outside the apartment and I didn't know what apartment I was going to. This is how stealthy she was. So she's like, lift your jacket up. And I'm like, well, where are you at? This was before real good cell phones. So I had like this cricket ghetto phone, and it was all going in and out, so I didn't hear what she was saying. And so she was like, "Turn around." And I was like, "What do you mean turn around? Like, I'm not dancing in the middle of this parking lot." And she was like, "I'll make sure you don't have a gun." I'm like, "What? I can't even afford a gun. Do you see the car I'm driving? Like, I don't have no gun." So I'm turning around. I'm driving a yellow Geo Tracker. So with a hole in the floor. So
ain't no gun.
No, I didn't have no gun. So I had nothing to lose. So finally she lets me come upstairs. So we start dating or whatever. We go to our first date is in a country bar. Now I was not thinking, okay? I wasn't thinking. It was the dance club that everybody was going to. I didn't know. So we go in and there's hip hop on one side and country music on the other. Well, a lot of the guys I work with are on the country bar side. I said, okay. So I said, hey, I asked this guy, they called him C-Note. I said, C-Note, you need to come with me and, go out to the bar. He said, okay. And so I go up to get her a drink and some guy comes up to her. And I mean, she was looking like a 15 on a 10 scale. I mean, she was off the charts. And the guy comes up and he's drunk and he's like, "You're black." Now, I don't hear anything, okay? I don't hear anything. I'm down the bar, and I'm hard of hearing anyway. So C-Note looks over at me and goes, "You hear that?" And I said, "No, what happened?" C-Note goes,
C-Note gonna start some shit.
So C-Note picks the stool up from where he's sitting, picks the stool up, comes and slams it down next to the guy. And he looks at him and goes, "Hey, pal." He goes, "This is what's going to happen. My boy over there, that's her man, right? Okay. So this is one way of two. First way, I'm going to hit you in the head with a stool, and then I'm going to take you outside. I'm going to beat you to death with it." He said, "Or you can fuck off right now, and I'm still going to go outside and beat the death off you, but at least you got a running chance." One of my buddies is the bouncer, so he comes up. He's like, "Is there a problem here?" And I was like, "I don't even know what's going on." And C-Note goes, "Yeah, I'll tell you where there's a problem." He goes, "I'm about to whoop your ass, whip all y'all's asses, and beat him to death with the same stool all in the same day." And I was like, "C-Note, calm down." He's like, "Nah, we came out here to do what we need to do. We need to do it." I said, "Okay, we can't hang out no more, C-Note." So when he gets crazy, I grabbed Delores and I left. I don't know whatever happened to C-Note, but
we didn't leave with him.
Yeah, we didn't leave with him. We left him in the bar to go fight 5 bouncers and some drunk white dude. But we get back to the house, and I'll never forget it.
Oh my God!
I had never dated a girl that put things like on a head, like it has like the head, and you put hair or whatever on it. I'd never experienced that, the little head thing.
No mannequin.
I never knew that. The wig head. I didn't know. So at 3:00 in the morning, I walk in the bathroom. I thought somebody's in the bathroom. I punched that son of a bitch right off I just hit it. That's why it's got your name.
At my house.
Not that first night, but it said.
Hold it straight. You're gonna delete that. You're gonna delete that. Oh hell no. Hell no.
It's there. No. We got your reaction though. Your reaction. Hey, we all know that motherfucker ain't stay at your house that night. He lied. We all heard it.
But I punched that thing.
It was later on, I think.
Yeah, I punched that thing right in the head. So I put her name on it. I put her name on it. 12 years later, it says Bobby on it. It still says it.
Cute.
Does it really?
Yeah, I punched it right in the head. I thought it was somebody in the closet. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I really thought it was an intruder.
Oh my God.
DB, that was your first encounter with Dolores's hair changes.
Accessories,
yes.
Accessorize. Yeah, and I punched it. It still got the knuckles in it too. Never got another one. Look at D's like, "I can't believe this motherfucker come on my podcast talking about punching a mannequin in the face."
So when it comes to blending the cultures, the two cultures,
sure.
Like D, you mentioned that you're Irish. You guys, how do you mesh the two cultures? Is there really anything to mesh? Because a lot of people would assume that, well, we're black, so we're celebrating Kwanzaa. We're doing all.
Shit, I don't even celebrate Kwanzaa.
Yeah. I don't celebrate Kwanzaa.
Are we meshing? Yeah. Is there anything to mesh when it comes to the cultures?
Nani?
I think the food is the only different.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
The food, no, Jayson. The food is different for sure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah! Yeah.
Green bean casserole or green bean casserole, D?
I ain't fucking with either one.
Mac and cheese.
Stop it.
The mac and cheese.
Hey, I ain't doing that either.
Jayson, you'll never go back to box macaroni and cheese, will you?
Nope.
Southern thing,
and greens.
Right? Oh yeah, greens.
Trying to told you. When they done right. When they done right.
His white relative can throw down some greens.
Collards, turnips,
yes. All of them.
Okay.
Mustard.
Damn, girl. This is why I used to go to Thanksgiving over there because I wanted some of the greens. I was like, damn, they good. Oh, you learn from Zebediah?
But that ain't the house y'all can't go over, is it? Is that the house y'all can't go over? Oh shit! Y'all need to make up.
Without me,
she needs some greens. Shit, y'all need to make up.
Get some. No.
Yeah, D hit it right on the head. Kiss them greens goodbye.
It's a straight.
I'm trying to tell her. Well, you might just, maybe she can call you at once. You know, for a couple bowls, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, D.
They fostered black kids before.
Yeah.
They have one girl who actually thinks that that's her mom, one of the foster kids. They're not racist towards black people, I'll say.
You can't cut it. You either are or you ain't.
I was going to say you can't.
Yeah. But no, they are racist. But I don't know. It's so hard because they're so benevolent. But then you have this hatred. I don't understand how love isn't just love. If you're benevolent towards one group, why can't you be benevolent towards the others? My mind doesn't work that way. So that's why I always try to have mercy for them.
It comes down to this on that side of the family. They're Irish and they believe in states' rights. So they believe in a certain weird delusional thought process of what that flag stands for. They don't want to acknowledge that flag stands for over 500 years of oppression. They don't want to see that part. They want to see that Uncle so-and-so fought in the regiment over here about the states' rights and they didn't fight for slavery because they didn't have slaves, and explain and give me excuses and motherfucking excuses more. And I'm just done with it. That's it. You unplug. That's it. Like if you fly it, then you unplug. That's it.
So along with the thought of the cultural exchange, like, so one thing that I think is a stereotype is that once a black woman marries a white man, there's a lot of changes that happen. He's going to go to the barbershop now. He's going to dress different. Like, in order for him to be the picture of the white guy that the perception again, that a black woman should have, he's got to do some things differently. I'm going to say I don't think that's the case, but have you made or tried to change your partner to suit the needs of what, like, black people would assume a black woman's white man would look like?
Heck no. My husband was talking about doing a handlebar mustache the other day. I was like, do it. So now we're working on him growing that so he can have the twist on the side.
I was getting fades before I met her. Now I don't get no fades because I'm starting to go bald.
And he just cut his hair. It was long.
Yeah, mine was
we do whatever we feel like doing with ourselves, you know.
Right. So what? No John B. fantasy thing.
Oh no,
Who the fuck is John B?
I mean, I've
look at
always
DB. Who the fuck is John B?
I don't know.
Look it up, man. Look it up.
Can I spell it?
I've always been the type of guy, even in high school, to match my shirt with my shoes and my hat.
Well, that's what it is.
Even before I ever was with a black woman.
But when he started trying to talk to me, he was wearing a jogging suit. And he tried to talk to me several times. And I'm like, eventually I was like, why do you keep coming over to my desk? Don't keep coming over here. I'm at work. You know, I'm trying to get Italian. You don't have it? He was like, no. I'm like, oh, okay, here.
Jayson, are you Italian?
I'm Polish.
Oh,
he said that earlier.
That makes sense. You're from the Purple Gang over in Traumatic. Yeah, that's back in the 20s. You guys had the Purple Gang over there.
over
this month. Why you always talking about gangs and shit, man? We ain't talking about gangs tonight.
You are not writing a book.
We ain't doing that shit. We ain't doing that shit tonight. No.
Any questions that you have, D?
I do. I want to get back to this month and a half.
Oh,
Miss
well,
E-Ray.
you know what?
said.
I'm really genuine.
What happened to make you take this month and a half break? The truth.
I thought he was crazy.
She's 6 years older than me. All right, I might have took a little bit longer.
Whoa. See, don't try to clean it up, Jayson. Don't try to clean this shit up. No, hold on. E-Ray.
Older than DB.
Yeah.
E-Ray.
I'm 40. He just turned 35 on the 30th.
Wait a minute. And Delores over here dancing. How many years older are you than DB?
7.
Okay.
Oh shit, y'all just never mind. Yeah,
God damn it.
Yeah. Well, she older than me.
But he just like he approached you, he approached me. It was like, what, you know, it wasn't. I tried to give it a fair chance. I stopped talking to him. Like, you know what, he might be crazy, because who after 3 weeks is gonna tell somebody you the person I'm gonna marry? I'm like, nah, let me just work, and you know, I'm real career driven too. So when I'm on something, I'm on it, you know.
Yeah.
And after a while, I just realized I missed him. Plus, all the little hoochies around there was trying to talk to him at that point. So I'm like, nah.
No, player.
They were trying to slide in. They tried to slide in on my action. I was like, let me reel him right on back.
Oh.
So that's what it was.
So, you know, then we left that job.
I feel like I was. I think what was I, like 24? 24?
Job together.
We did. With a baby, like.
Oh wow.
Damn. You really showed out.
But yeah.
That's funny.
Okay, so one last question. What do you say to people who think or believe you should only like marry within your race? Like, what do you say to those individuals?
I mean, I tell them that's their preference if they want to do that, but they would be discounting themselves true fulfillment, because if you really want to be with who you want to be with, you should be open. I mean, I ain't saying you should just be out there like that, but you know what I mean? You should be open to love, you know, who you love, and you should be able to be with who you want to be with, you know? He is like truly... He's my lover. He's my best friend. We get along like I can't get along with nobody else. I can get along with him, and nobody can handle me like he can handle me. Like, that's just how it is, you know?
My man, Jay.
I'm tough to handle, you know?
You should have seen his face. You should have seen his face when you said that. He stuck his chest out a little bit like... Nobody handle her like I can handle you, girl.
No, I'll tell you what. Like, how do you know that God made your soulmate the same color as you? Like, how do you? I mean, I know there's probably a lot of.
I'll tell you how. I'll tell you how, because it's only one race. It's only a human race. It's only one race. All this white, black, all this shit, it don't matter. We are one human race, period. And the minute we can all agree on that, we'd all be a lot happier as a whole world.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we ready for the good people to win.
So we all, scientifically, we all migrated from the same place, period. Yep. So once we can all accept that, it doesn't matter who you with. If they're your soulmate, they're your soulmate, period. It doesn't matter what complexion they are. I'm not even going to say race. Yeah. I'm going to just say complexion.
So I have never met like... I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Jayson.
I don't even have guy friends that have as much in common as me and her. You know, we just got a fishing boat to go out fishing, and, you know, we do everything together.
That's what's up.
But isn't that what
I'm gonna
marriage
catch you a fish
to be
tonight,
like?
girl.
Yeah. She even hooks her own worm.
Oh,
Oh.
hey.
She's a keeper.
Well, shit, she got one on her. I can tell you that.
I've been banned from fishing with
She
him.
got one on her ass.
He said I'm too noisy. He was like, your earrings jingle, your bracelets jingle.
You gotta take
I'm
those
out here
out.
for some solitude. He was like, yeah, you got heels on and the boat is going clickety clack. I was like, I don't know what we doing after this. I don't know, but I'm gonna be prepared.
The fish
So
hear
I
that.
just catch the fish and cook it. I mean, he catch it, I clean and cook it. We decided that's how this gonna work. So you got one up on me, Ray.
Yes, you do.
Plus, the last time we went fishing, I kept casting my rod and it got stuck in a tree behind me. So I gave up. I don't know how that happened, but it happened like 3 times in a row. So we gave up. I gave up.
They get mad when they have to keep redoing your line. You got to learn how to do your own line.
I said, take me back ashore. I'm going to go sit in the car. And this was when cell phones was a flip phone. That's the last time I went fishing. I didn't even had the internet. I was like, I'm
ass
done.
at home.
I did. Me and my heels made it up that hill.
Oh my God.
And I went and got in the car.
Crazy ass.
Fishing is over.
I was like, I'm done. I'm gonna take a nap.
Cut her ass off.
So DB and Delores, what about you? What do you say to people who think you should only marry within your race?
Oh, my sister?
Sure.
Yeah, what do you say to her?
We're going to send her a copy of the tape, too.
I've said more than I've said on this tape.
No, I'm just kidding.
What I tell her? That's why you're alone.
Ooh.
Okay. That's
Drop
what's up.
the mic, Dolores.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
That's
she don't
what's
even
up.
call no more. We had
And
one good falling out, and that's
Only
it.
I've never dated a Southeast Asian man.
Oh.
She thinking about it.
She thinking about it like a motherfucker. She's still thinking about it.
But she like, maybe he was
hold on.
50%.
That pause, screenshot it.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Oh my God.
No, I like joking. No, but no, I never limit myself. It's not my nature. Mm-hmm. But you have a preference. I don't have a preference.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
DB's got a preference.
As soon as I got out of my home,
I guess we know your preference.
I mean, intelligent, funny, those kind of preferences, but not a race, a complexion preference. How about that?
Thank you.
A white chick could walk right by me, and I don't even look.
What about that one that had that big booty?
You bringing up shit from 12 years ago.
She had a big booty.
We haven't been back to that restaurant since.
No, but I know we haven't.
Okay.
Well, she young, but
you banned from the restaurant?
No, we just haven't been back there. I don't even think it's open anymore. No, he was like, I like black women. I like thick black women. And so here, this skinny Caucasian, very light
colored,
complected woman walks by with a nice round booty, and he was like, I thought,
It was a momentary man reaction. It was that doesn't think preference. That just sees mating possibilities. That's all.
DB trying to clean it up. He's trying to clean it up.
That's okay,
right.
DB.
You can't clean that up. You can't clean that up, DB.
You was early in the relationship.
That was
like you're a wise man now. I'm sure you would have saw it from a distance, measured it, and let her walk by without turning your head.
He checked her ass out. Period. They was 3 years in at that point. He just did it. So we ain't cleaning that up.
Actually, we already see it beforehand. When we even see something coming, like if I even see a black dude coming, or he sees a girl coming that might be possibly misconstrued as, oh, he look good or she look good, we just start looking at something on our phone or something, talking to each other like, let's not.
I went to Myers the other day and it was like, oh shit, gotta look this way. Oh shit, like I couldn't even do nothing.
That's how I am too.
Y'all need to cut that out. Y'all need to cut that out.
You're not blind. You are not blind. Listen, he knows my type because he'll be like, "Oh, baby, there we go," and I'd be like, "Oh, you know me, baby."
Yeah,
that
was you're not bringing the real D in at this point. He could go, "Oh, there he go," and then he looks, and then D goes, "Oh, there he went," and he's going to knock him down. It's just that simple. If the man returns the look, D's going 0 to I'm ripping your face off.
I don't know why you got this perception of me, man. I'm not that guy, DB. I'm not that guy anymore.
Hey,
anymore.
Not that guy anymore.
Good for you.
Is he really?
I'm too old. I ain't got time to be squaring up with nobody.
He has a lot of big talk. This one.
Yeah, I know. I'm starting to learn that.
Where you end up? Where were you in the haunted house? Who was in the front and who was in the behind me?
Look, you're bringing up shit that happened 10 years ago. I didn't mean to jump on your back and ride out of the fucking haunted house, but I did. I didn't mean to leave you when the wolf came out into the trail, but it happened. You're bringing up old shit. It's always old shit you bringing up.
You knock kids over if you see a beaver in the water.
Oh
his eyebrows grew back, and damn, I didn't mean to jump in.
Y'all funny.
I
have
enjoyed the conversation.
I've been educated as well too. So full disclosure.
Go ahead.
Full disclosure at this point, right? So we really wanted to have this conversation, not only because we were interested because of, the dynamic what's happening in the country, but also to kind of learn from you guys because my second oldest, he's got one on the way. And it will be a biracial baby or a bi-complected. I don't know what you want to call it right now, but so it was kind of like, okay, what can we expect kind of thing. Yeah, we know her and we love her to death, know her parents, but let's take it broader. Okay, what can we really expect, kind of to happen? So this was a great conversation. I appreciate you guys joining us for this and being so open with us. This was a good time.
Yeah, and sharing a little bit of your world with us. Like, this is what it's all about. So just having conversations.
That's why I love this podcast.
I hope it was painless for y'all. Hope
it was. I really enjoyed it. Y'all had me cracking up too. So I felt really, really comfortable, and I'm glad. I'm sure
we like to have fun. We do like to make it enjoyable.
Well, we're gonna sign off real quick. I'm your girl AA.
It's D. Lewis.
And want to thank DB and Delores and Ray and Jayson for coming into the pod room and spreading some love and knowledge. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the conversation.
Hey, make sure you look them up. DB and Ray. Make sure you follow them. Instagram.
Yes.
Get the murder shit. Because she got nooses, y'all. Just that intrigued me. I want to know what the fuck that's about now. But yeah, we'll leave all that information out there so you guys can follow them, support them.
Yes.
And hey, we out.
Yeah. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
We really appreciate you.
Thank you for tuning into the Urban Green Room podcast. Let's keep the conversation going. Hit us up at urbangreenroom.net or on our Facebook or IG page.
I always follow them.
Tell us what you think about today's conversation. If there's a topic you want to discuss, let us know. And by all means, tell a friend. The Urban Green Room podcast, giving you something to talk about. Until next time, we out.